Hi everyone, and thanks for joining our construction and engineering session. I'll shortly pass you over to Andy, who is our Director of Construction and Engineering Department here at the Manchester College. He's going to talk with you about the construction and engineering courses. Joining Andy is also Kala Daha, engineering tutor, and Gary Walworth, carpentry tutor, who will also be on the session here to answer your questions. So now I'm going to pass you over to Andy to get the construction and engineering session started. So over to you, Andy.
Thank you, Shay. Good afternoon, everybody. This is an unusual event for us to present online. I hope we can give you a flavour of what it would be like to study carpentry, construction and engineering with us at Manchester College. What I'm going to do is run through a short presentation for you. If I can I get my slides to move on? We've got a little technical hitch there. What I want to do is talk to you about the department, which is divided into two. We've got construction trades and we've got engineering and built environment. The aim of the session today is to give you an overview of what we offer, the courses that we run, and to give you a chance to ask any questions about the department, the courses, and about how we might be delivering next year in light of coronavirus. We will allow some Q&A at the end of the presentation so that we can deal with any issues that come up during the presentation. We've then got a short video presentation for you just to have a look around our construction site and to give you an introduction to some of the staff you'll see presenting for you, showing you around the workshops and showing you some of the equipment that we have on site there. And the staff and I will stay online at the end for any additional questions that people might have. I hope that'll answer all of your issues by the end of the session, and I'll move on with the content. Okay, our department's quite a big department. We have a team of 26 teaching staff across construction and engineering. We have construction skills in 4 trade areas, which are plastering, painting and decorating, brickwork and carpentry and joinery. And we have building services engineering part of that department, which includes plumbing and electrical installation. The team are based at our Welcome Street campus, which is a few minutes walk from the Openshaw site. And all of the teaching for construction takes place on that site, largely in workshop situations rather than classrooms, but I'll come to more of that later. We also run construction and the built environment programs from level 2 from this coming year through to HNC, which is the equivalent to a first year of a degree. So students can start with us, do a level 2 or a level 3 program and step up to the first year of a degree, and then have the option either to go into employment or to move on to a full degree program at another institution. Our engineering courses are designed for students wanting to study engineering across a range of disciplines. We'll go into more details around the course content a little bit later on. Well, we offer courses at level 2 for students who might not have got the GCSE grades that they hope for, and level 3, which is the equivalent to doing 3 A levels, and will get you UCAS entry points or provide you with the opportunity to step off into employment at the end of your level 3 program. We have around 300 people a year studying on the construction trade site with us, in addition to a couple of hundred adults, and there are around 180 16 to 18-year-olds that study engineering and built environment on the Openshaw campus. Almost all of our staff are experts in their trades and in their fields. They've got lots of experience working in the construction industry or in engineering, or they are PhD qualified. They're trained and qualified engineers who support the students through their program so that you can step off onto a career in construction or engineering by the time that you've finished your construction course with us. I'm going to talk about some of our tutors in a bit more detail later on. They've all got industry experience. It's something we look for when we recruit, and they have a range of individual specialisms. So your engineering tutors, for example, won't just teach you generic engineering. They have specialist disciplines and they'll teach the units of your program relevant to their professional specialism. The construction and built environment team includes staff with experience of on-site management, project management, and high academic qualifications, including a PhD in sustainable construction. And we have extremely strong industry links In fact, just this afternoon, I've stepped out of a meeting to present here this afternoon. We were meeting for 2 hours with the Northwest Construction Hub executives about our employer links going forward. We have great connections with the construction industry in the Northwest and offer a range of work placement opportunities and long-term engagement through our scholarship programme on the Built Environment course. But they're not just industry experts, they're also student-centred teachers focused on supporting our learners. All of the photographs that you'll see on the slides today have been chosen with great taste by our marketing department and show our students and our staff. So one of our electrical tutors there, you can see we're a friendly bunch of people, we're supportive of our students, we want to get the best out of you during the course and to help you succeed on the programme. A little bit more detail about our offer. Construction and engineering students have a range of elements that are common to their study programmes. A young person today has to take what we call a study programme. So you will take a main qualification in an area of construction. That might be carpentry, brickwork, or electrical installation, for example. You may do engineering, or you may do construction in the built environment as BTEC programmes. Alongside that, students have the opportunity to study English and maths up to GCSE. What that means is you have the opportunity, if you've not achieved a grade 4, to get that grade 4 in your time with us as part of your study programme. You will usually study that as well on the site at Welcome Street. We have our own team of English and maths teachers who will deliver to our construction and engineering students on site at Welcome Street and Openshaw. All our students are also provided with a work placement or a work experience opportunity in the trade or the area of study that they're engaged in. So you will spend a certain amount of time, it varies depending on the level of your programme, actually working in industry, learning your skills, how they're used in the real world, and preparing you for work after you qualify. The range of courses that we offer goes from introductory skills building. So we offer a construction skills course for entry level and level 1 students. You may need to do your English and maths on these programs. It's a chance for you to develop your hand skills while focusing on your wider education as well, so that you can prepare yourself to step onto a specialist trade the year after you've taken the construction skills course. This is aimed at students who might be unsure what they want to do as a trade, or who need the extra support to get them ready for higher levels of study. We take our students, we take a range of students with a whole range of abilities into the construction department, and most of our students step up within the department. They don't move off into other departments to do other courses. They like it so much they stay with us, and they specialise after a year of doing construction skills, and then they build on that and prepare for employment later on. If you've already got reasonable grades in your English and maths qualifications, you might already know what trade you want to study. The 3 main wet trades or finishing trades that we offer are brickwork. We offer brickwork at up to level 2. You would do that over 2 years, doing level 1 first, learning the basics of bricklaying, and then developing more sophisticated techniques and understanding. The reason we want you to have a basic level of English and maths before you go on to a specialist trade is that all the trade will require you to work on calculating the materials that you require. They will all expect you to have basic communication skills and to be able to understand and take the written exams or the online exams that are part of the programme of study. Painting and decorating has a similar structure to the other courses on here. You will be prepared within 2 years to step onto an apprenticeship or to go into an employment in painting and decorating. You'll learn a range of skills, including wallpapering, painting, finishing, around a range of materials, and you'll be given an allocated bay. So once you go into the painting and decorating workshop, which you'll see in the video later, you'll be given your own small room, like a living room, with a chimney, a window, a door, in which you can design and prepare your own projects to develop your painting and decorating skills towards your level 2 diploma. Plastering is about the application of plaster onto subsurfaces. Again, students can do this at level 1, which teaches them the basics and the preparation. And at level 2 is the higher level skills, learning to do jobs to time and over a larger surface area. I always like to wind the staff up by saying plastering's the hardest thing to do really well, because to get a good finish is quite a difficult skill. And so you need to develop your hand skills over those 2 years. And again, you'll need to be able to learn how to price jobs, calculate the materials necessary for jobs, and develop hand skills to an extremely high standard in order to produce finished plaster work. Moving on to carpentry, we offer carpentry up to level 3. We've got one of the joiners and carpenters on the line today, so they'll be able to answer any specific questions in a bit more detail at the end. We do ask all our students to start at level 1 in carpentry, as with the other trades, in order to develop their hand skills. Where your skills develop quickly, we can move you up in year to level 2. We had an exceptional student this year, great all-round skills, moved up to level 2 before Christmas and has completed his level 2 in year in spite of lockdown. There's actually a photograph of that young man on another slide here today. You will develop the basic skills around door fixing, staircases, roofing and flooring during your level 2 year, which would be your second year with us under normal circumstances. And then you would move on to more complex jobs at level 3, where you would do more complex roofing structures, double door installations, curved skirting, and a range of other practical skills that you would need for site work. And from there, you'll be able to progress on to an MVQ on site work and go to work as an apprentice or an MVQ trainee with employers on site work. This coming September, we are also introducing what we are calling our T-level transition program. This is a 1-year program to prepare young people, 16-year-old school leavers, for the introduction of T-levels from September 21. We are one of the areas where that are introducing T-levels nationally in construction from September 21, and these are going to be the equivalent for vocational and technical qualifications of doing a full A-level program. Because we are preparing to roll this out to our best construction students, the T-level transition program at level 2 this coming September will allow our students with the best GCSE results who are interested in a career in construction and who are keen on some on-site carpentry in this case to take a technical diploma as part of the transition program. They will have a substantial amount of work placement activity that they can undertake to improve their skills and to understand the construction industry. And they will also have the chance to develop their English and maths as with other students. What this will allow you to do then at the end of the year is either step on to a carpentry and joinery program as a dedicated course, the diplomas that I was talking about a few minutes ago, or you can step onto the T-level program, which is the equivalent of A-levels. That's a 2-year program, which are end assessed at the end of 2 years. They will provide you with UCAS points for university entry and application, or as a stepping stone into employment in the construction industry, or potentially to take the HNC in construction and built environment, which I'll talk about shortly. The other part of our construction trades offer at Welcome Street is our building services segment. This means that we offer electrical installation up to level 3. With the right GCSE qualifications, students can enter this at level 2. The argument, and the trade staff are quite competitive, is that the practical manual skills needed are not as precise as in something like carpentry and joinery, but your maths and English skills will need to be more highly developed because of the science-based content in both plumbing and electrical. So we do ask for slightly higher GCSE entry qualifications, and if you've got those, you can go straight onto level 2 in plumbing or electrical. If you've not got our entry requirements at GCSE, we do run level 1 classes in both plumbing and electrical that you can step into for 1 year and then move up to the level 2. As a 16-year-old school leaver, a student has 3 years in which to become qualified, so that's not a problem. You do 3 years with us from level 1 through to level 3, and I'll talk about your options after that in a moment. So students can do on both plumbing and electrical up to level 3 with us over 2 or 3 years, depending on your entry requirement, your entry qualifications. In electrical, in year 2, you will learn the basic skills about how to plan and carry out an installation. you'll learn about the underlying theory of electrical installation and the key health and safety practices that apply. At level 3, you will develop your fault finding skills, and you will learn to design and prepare plans to complete an electrical installation. On completion of your level 3 diploma with us, you will be qualified to work as an electrician's mate, and in that role you'll be working more or less as an apprentice, so that you can then become a fully qualified electrician once you've completed your NVQ. What the level 3 diploma gives you is the opportunity to work and install and complete electrical installations and planning and design, but your work will have to be signed off by a qualified electrician. In plumbing up to level 3, again, we do it over 2 or 3 years, depending on the level of your English and maths when you start. At level 2, we do the bulk of the key skills and understanding required for level 2 plumbing. So you will learn to pipe bend, create and build pipework installations, hanging radiators, preparing and installing waste disposal, and installing elements in items like in rooms like kitchens and bathrooms. The level 3 will continue to develop your practical skills on more complex installations and combining elements that you learned at level 2 into the design and planning aspects of plumbing installation, so that you are qualified at the end in order to become site ready. And again, you can step off onto the NVQ and work as a plumbing apprentice, ready to be fully qualified as a plumber once you're in work. We are also running a level 2 transition course in building services, like the carpentry and joinery transition. This is dedicated currently to electrical installation. It's the first stage of our rollout of the T-level programme, and electrical installation is the first one to come on stream. So a select group of students who want to do electrical installation or might have been interested in plumbing but would consider the T-level transition will be allowed to take the T-level transition if they're interested in taking a T-level in September 21. As I mentioned before, that gives you some options about university progression. Electricians and plumbers do sometimes go on to university and higher level study because of the design and planning elements that they learn as part of their course with us, and they're interested in pursuing that into construction design and planning in a future career. And the T-level is a more academic route down that same pathway. You will, by the end of the T-level, level 3, you will have learned a range of other skills that will prepare you for site management, as well as some practical application of your skills. Moving over to our engineering and built environment courses, this is the course really that links our construction trades to our engineering department. We offer BTECs currently in construction and the built environment. Now, some students may have encountered these at school. Some schools in the area do a level 2 in construction, the built environment in school. We are introducing a level 2 T-level transition in construction, the built environment, and this will lead on to what is known as the design and planning construction T-level from September 21. It's a more academic route than the trades, so there are more theoretical elements involved and much less hands-on practical work that you would do. So if you're the kind of person that likes classroom work and likes theory, you might be more inclined to this course of study. If you like to do work with your hands and get your hands dirty, you may consider a T-level transition in electrical or carpentry. But we are offering all 3 pathways. We're one of the few colleges to be doing that, and that's because of the range of skills we've got amongst our staff. What the course will give you is an in-depth introduction to the construction industry principles and practices. Excuse me, slightly dry throat. And the T-level that you would move on to following the transition would be a 2-year programme, again equivalent to a full A-level programme for university entry or to move into employment after that. Alternatively, you could take the level 3 built environment programme. Over 1 year, that gives you a foundation diploma, and over 2 years, you get the extended diploma, which again gives you the same UCAS points as doing 3 A levels. The programme will cover a range of industry topics. So you would look at science and materials, maths in construction, design and drawing, a lot of 3D CAD and design, building information modelling, which is the new industry standard for online design and 3D design. You also cover things like construction management and law. The full extended diploma gives you the option either to move on to university or to move into employment. Part of our offer now is what we call the Level 3 ACE scholarship, which is our Architectural, Construction and Engineering scholarship. This currently is our template for our T-level offer in 12 months' time. As a model in order for us to understand and develop our T-level offer. Students on the ACE scholarship have GCSE grades of 6 or more. And I'm sorry, I'm just getting a network warning. So if it drops out, one of the tutors can pick up from this slide. This program does give you the equivalent to 3 A levels again, but in addition to that, you work with 5 of the most prestigious construction employers in the Northwest currently. From next year, we will also be working with a construction company called Wilmot Dixon, who are going to take all 12 of our scholarship students on work placements around their large organisation. This is a sponsored program by these employers. So in addition to the long-term placements and major sponsoring employers, there is a small bursary each term that comes with this program and access to an industry standard laptop for use on design activity that you will do as part of your work placements and your course. Your underlying qualification is the same as the one above, the construction and built environment, but the ACE scholarship gives you access to a range of work activity that you will not get on any other program, but we are selective, I'm afraid. You do have to have a grade 6 in English and maths in order to access the scholarship program. And then we have our BTEC engineering offer. Currently, we offer engineering at level 2 and level 3. Level 2 is for those students whose GCSE grades might not be as high as they had hoped. It gives you the chance to top up your English or maths qualification while doing a level 2 BTEC in engineering. The range of topics that you would cover is basic engineering principles, including design, structures, materials, behaviour, and you would study additional maths for engineers as part of the course. These courses do include external exams now as part of it, but 80% of the assessment is through coursework that you will be supervised on with your tutors. At level 3, this is the equivalent again of doing 3 A levels for university entry. You will do this over 2 years to get the full extended diploma. The first year will be the foundation diploma and the second year would be your extended diploma top up. It's really important to think about that in regards to your age when you're starting the course. If you are 18 in the year you start this, there are implications because you will be an adult by the time you got to the second year. So please bear that in mind and talk to us about your situation if you're interested in taking the extended diploma in engineering. Again, the range of topics that you will cover, there is some practical work including engineering, of course, so you will have a design and build project, as well as some theoretical units. We cover a range of engineering topics on the course, from mechanical and structural elements through to electronic and electrical work, as well as additional maths. So you are involved in the design, the build, understanding the materials in preparation. The reason that we choose a wide variety of engineering modules is because students then often go on to specialise in a particular branch of engineering at university, and we don't want to disadvantage any of our students by having too narrow an engineering course. We want to give you a really good grounding so that you are prepared for a range of engineering options when you step off to university or into an apprenticeship or employment. We are going through some big changes as part of our programme. I've mentioned the T-level several times, and the government will be rolling out a programme of promotion for the T-level offer in the coming months, ready for September 21. Our 3 T-level transition programmes offer students who might be interested in a career in construction the opportunity to step into one of 3 key pathways, and it helps them understand what a T-level will be like. If you like, it gives you a chance to do a normal qualification while understanding what it would be like to do a full T-level from next September 2021 without being fully committed to it at this stage. So if you decide that the T-level way of working that you experience on the T-level transition doesn't suit you, so for example on carpentry, you might want to be more hands-on and do more practical you might decide then to go on to the diploma rather than onto the T-level. But that option will be supported by us, and you'll get advice and guidance from us during your T-level transition year so that we get you on the programme that best suits you in your second year at the Manchester College. The T-levels, when you take them, will be equivalent to a full A-level suite of qualifications. The intention is to provide technical and vocational qualification of an extremely high standard so that students who leave these types of qualifications are as well qualified as students are perceived to be once they've done a full A-level course of study. Why is this relevant to you now? Well, because if you start leaving school now with us in September, you really have the option to do 2 or 3 years in college without being an adult, so you are fully funded as a young person, and that gives you the chance to do the T-level transition and step onto a T-level, or to go down another route with our support. This is planned to become the industry standard, though, in future. There are a few professional vocational areas that are being where this is being introduced initially. Construction is one of them, and we will be in the second wave of that. There are only, I think, 5 colleges in the country doing the T-level from this September. We will be part of the next batch from September 21. So any student taking these programs with us will be more or less at the forefront of T-level experience and qualification when they go out into the workplace once they've completed. If you'd like to talk to us in more detail about T-levels, please feel free to add any questions to the chat bar, or if you want a more detailed conversation, we can make an appointment to do that. Any of the staff or I will be happy to talk you through the implications of this either now or during the enrolment period in August. And today was a chance to introduce some of our teaching staff. Working remotely, I think, has been a surprise to all of us, and this is a first to me. I'm used to presenting to parents and students at open evenings and open events, but this is the first time I've ever done it online. Normally, I'd have some of my staff around me as well to help. Unfortunately, I've only got a couple of virtual presences, and we wanted anyway to give you the chance to see a few faces from the department and allow you to read a little bit about what they do. As I mentioned earlier, all of our staff have got some experience in the industry. They're all experts in their field. They have particular areas of specialism. So our electricians, for example, of which we have 4 full-time members of staff, are from different backgrounds, but they've all worked in the electrical industry for long periods of time. So Pete has had a wide range of experience. On the right hand side, Peter's had a wide range of experience running his own electrical contracting company before he became a teacher. Gary, who's on the line, could talk to you about himself shortly, but he was been on the BBC. We like to celebrate that and tease him about it because he had a little moment on the One Show, but rather happily, he was also awarded Joiner of the Year in 2019. And he does an awful lot of charity work. I hope I don't embarrass him by telling you this. He works for an organisation called Band of Builders that helps to adjust the homes for injured and disabled builders who need support. And he's often at weekends can be found in another part of the country entirely, making adaptations to people's homes to make their lives easier. The next slide is coming in a second. Things are moving just a little slowly, I'm afraid. It is coming. Just if you give us a moment, ladies and gentlemen, it's I think the internet connection is running a little slow today. Has anybody got any questions in the chat that we could deal with while we're waiting for this to move on?
Yeah, we've got some questions.
The slides appear to have frozen.
Yeah, I can ask them a couple of questions that have come through already.
Yeah.
Somebody's asked about an apprenticeship. Oh, bear with me a second. How's it gone? So it says, can I go on to an apprenticeship after the extended diploma?
In theory, yes. is there a particular field or trade that that person's interested in? If it's a construction trade, then you might want to go on to an apprenticeship. There may be implications about funding at that point, because you would then be an adult after the extended diploma if you're coming straight from school now. But yes, in principle, there is nothing to stop you. However, I would also say if you completed the extended diploma, the government is promoting degree level apprenticeships more and more. And there are a wide range of construction apprenticeships at level 4, which is a step up from the extended diploma. It's the equivalent to doing the first year of your degree. More and more young people in technical and vocational areas are taking level 4, 5 and 6 apprenticeships after they've done a couple of years of college study. So yes, apprenticeships are possible. Degree apprenticeships are becoming more and more common, particularly in technical and construction fields.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Andy. How are you getting on with your presentation? It's still sticking?
Yes, at the moment.
I'm not sure if you want to reshare it again. Ooh.
It says it's still sharing. We'll give it another go. There we go. Some more of our staff. I was talking about the electrical staff as an example. Gary Bingham on the left there might not thank me for saying this. Gary has had a phenomenal career working for a range of global companies at an extremely high level, working on design, planning and installation of electrical systems in large construction projects. He doesn't talk too much about it, to be honest, but he's got a range of knowledge and experience that is almost second to none. And I'm really grateful that he's a member of our team. So if you're interested in electrical as a career, he's got the inside track and basically knows everything there is to know about doing that. Warren is a specialist in electrical science and systems by contrast. So rather than the industry expert, Warren is our scientific expert on the team. Each of our members of staff have these specialisms. That means that if you've got a problem or a question, there is usually somebody on the team who can support you with that as a specialist. We have a range of staff that help learners adapt and develop their skills. They've all got considerable experience in teaching. Terry on the right hand side has been a teacher and learning coach, so he's an expert practitioner and is now working full time in the construction team. And unfortunately Louise's photo is missing, but Louise is our employability tutor. She will liaise with the work placement staff in order to make sure that you get prepared and planned for your work experience opportunities, and she'll follow that up with you and to make sure you get the best out of those opportunities when they come around. She's an integral part of the team, and she helps support us, making sure that all of our learners get sufficient work experience during their course. Kenroy has a wide experience working with students from a range of backgrounds. He supports our level 1 construction skills and entry-level students. He's an expert in behaviour, and so he helps our learners adapt to a college environment, helps them develop the right skills and attitudes for employment and for stepping up into the trade. He's been a youth worker, a teacher, and is developing his skills in construction as well as supporting students with their own personal development. Stephen in the middle has particular specialism in fire sprinklers as well as being a plumbing tutor. Again, he's a member of staff who's run his own business for many years, but he also delivers. He's one of only 3 people, I think, currently who are delivering fire sprinkler training around the country, and that's one of our areas of specialism as a college. Again, somebody with a particular set of skills that nobody else really has, and he can talk to you about careers in fire sprinkler installation. And Mike, one of the plumbing staff, again, a whole range of experience in other businesses, both as a commercial and domestic plumber and installer. He's done a range of work in plumbing. He joined us last year, and he's worked in organisations like the NHS as a plumbing supervisor. I think it's frozen on me again. I'll try that trick of sharing and unsharing. Any more questions, Amy?
Yes, there's a couple more questions here. What subjects do I need for software engineering?
Oh, that's a little bit outside of my area of expertise, but Callum might be able to answer that.
Well, I've seen this question on the box, and I tried to do the best to answer this question. To study software engineering, if you mean in university, you would be looking at studying things like math, embedded systems, programming languages. Those all subjects are included in our qualification at the Manchester College. I hope that answered the question.
That's brilliant, thank you.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get the slideshow back on.
All right.
Anything else, Amy? I can multitask.
Yeah, oh, brilliant. It says, can I get support with work placement?
Yes, we have the college. Manchester College has invested an awful lot in an extensive work placement team. They support every department, but we have a dedicated liaison person who works with our construction department in order to make sure that we secure you a worthwhile work placement. So the support is there. You don't have to provide your own. If you know somebody and who's willing to take on a young person and they're willing to take you on, that's fine. But we've got lots of support to make sure we find your work placement opportunity through the college. So don't worry about that.
Lovely, thank you. Got some more here. If you want another one, you can still multitask.
Yep.
Yep. Somebody's just said, I have a place at college, and if I've signed up to a construction course, can I do an apprenticeship in construction?
We don't offer apprenticeships through the Manchester College. We offer up to level 3, and then what would normally happen? Is there any indication of the trade in the comment, Amy?
Construction, I think.
Just general.
Yeah,
it would depend a little bit on your trade. For example, if you want to be an electrician, what you would normally do is take the diploma with us up to level 3. You then go to work and you study for your NVQ at the same time as an electrician's mate. It's a very specific route through before you can become a qualified electrician. Gary Walworth as a joiner is on the line, and he could explain to you what the route through is for carpentry and joinery up to and after level 3, Gary.
Yeah, if once you've got to level 3 status, you then go on to what we call an OSAT top-up route. So that's an on-site assessment and training. So you'd have to sit for carpentry and joinery and say it's 3 units that you would have to sit and be assessed on site. So as you're working and doing jobs in your normal day, an assessor will come out and visit you and assess those jobs and then take you up to the NVQ.
Okay. So you would need additional training on site. It's not technically an apprenticeship, that though, is it, Gary? It's your on-site training.
No, but during the on-site training, you would be classed as an apprentice, and it should last around 1 year. Okay.
Now, the wider answer to your question, Amy, is that students could take an apprenticeship at 16. But often in the construction industry, it's quite difficult to secure an apprentice in a skilled trade because students at that age, young people, don't have the hand skills to work at the pace necessary. So, for example, in brickwork, they wouldn't be able to lay bricks fast enough to suit being an apprentice on site laying bricks. So what our courses offer you is the chance to reach a certain level, get the necessary skills, a foundation on which to build, and then step off into an apprenticeship of the like that Gary's just described, in order that they can work effectively and efficiently for their employer while doing that top up to become fully qualified.
That's brilliant, thank you. I've had somebody asking, a couple of people sort of been asking what the class is going to look like sort of after lockdown. So in September, you know, could you explain how the how it's going to be managed in terms of practical classes? Yep. Will all the theory take place online in Teams at a specific date time? Just all those sorts of questions, really, just about the online learning versus practical.
There's going to be two parts to my answer. The first is about construction trades, and I'll come on to the BTEC qualifications afterwards. For construction trades, in a normal year, about 80% of your time in class is actually in the workshop, not in a classroom. And about 20% of your time would normally be spent in a classroom doing theoretical underpinning concepts around the trade that you're studying. Because of the limitations around social distancing, we are moving our theoretical elements online in construction to try and maximise the time on site with practical, because that's the stuff that will get you employment once you qualify. Your practical skills are the things that will make a difference, and we can only assess those on site, watching you work, teaching you how to do the job. And so we are trying to maximise your on-site time with practical activity. That's great, I think, because most students who come to do construction trades want to do the practical side rather than the theoretical side. We have to do some of the theoretical elements with you in order for you to get qualified, but your time on site will largely be taken up with practical. There will be a bit of additional things on site around tutorial, so you will meet your personal tutor and have small sessions with your personal tutor as well. But when you're on site, you'll largely be working in the workshop. For the BTEC provision, we have to maintain social distancing come September. So we're planning for quite small group sizes of around about 6 students. And each group of students will be on site 1 day a week so that they can meet their tutors and work with their tutors face to face. There are some practical elements which will have priority access to those on-site times, but then there will be online lessons delivered by the engineering staff over Teams where you will log on as a class group. It will be more than 6 in that case. It will be closer to a normal class size, and you will engage with your tutor online. And then there's an element that we are calling directed independent learning. A little bit of your work each week will be involving working independently and with one-to-one support from your tutor on tasks that are set off the back of those online lessons, so that you're not sitting in front of a computer necessarily for what might amount to about 8 hours a week. You will be doing work on your own as well and coming back to the tutor, having a short one-to-one, going away and continuing with the work. So it's a mix of on-site classes. We are trying to see every student at least once a week for 1 day a week on site. Some online classes delivered as a group, and some directed study that where you will work independently or with other students and bring your work back to the tutor for monitoring, questioning, and then moving on to the next stage. Construction trades is slightly different because there's a significant amount of practical in there, and so we are trying to make sure that we get as much time in the workshops as we can in spite of the coronavirus situation. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you. There's a couple of questions about evening classes as well. So somebody said, do we do evening classes? And then somebody said, when does the electrical installation level 2 evening class start? Okay.
Yes, we do evening classes currently in electrical installation, but that's the only trade we offer. That is for adults only. We don't put 16 to 18s in the evening classes. We are looking at doing adult evening classes in the other trades because of the pressure on our workspaces under social distancing. So it might well be that we are putting sessions on either twilight for adults from around 4 o'clock through to the early evening, or fully fledged evening classes in trades like plumbing and carpentry and joinery. I can't give you a definitive answer to that yet because there is an impact on how many the coronavirus has had an impact on how many students we can have in a workshop at any one time. And my job really is to make sure we do that as efficiently as possible. So it just does depend a little bit on just how many students there are and the scheduling that we can do on site. Potentially, we always run evening classes in electrical. And to answer the second question, that starts from the first week in September, the first Monday in September. They start straight away at the beginning of term and will run through the year. Again, the same thing is true, though. They are courses that are very much in demand and the classes are quite large. So our delivery model is going to vary slightly. And it may well be that it's a mix of some evenings on site and some evenings delivered over Teams. Okay. We are looking at whether we need to deliver carpentry, joinery and plumbing in the evenings. Potentially that will happen. If you'd like to indicate on chat whether it's something you would like to see or if that's a concern that you might have to come to an evening class, I'll bear that in mind as we're looking at the scheduling.
That's brilliant, thank you. Somebody's actually asked about about the group sizes. Somebody said how many people will be working on the course at any one time, because they're not great in big crowds of people. Yeah.
For the BTEC, it's going to be on-site groups of probably no more than 6 initially in September. And if and when social distancing eases, it may well be that those group sizes grow. Because we need to put more students in classrooms. In the workshops in construction, that will depend very much on the trade area, because our workshops are different sizes and that means our capacities are slightly different. However, what I would say in the workshops, in most of the trades, when you're in the workshop, you are in a bay of your own. You're not working. There may be other people in bays around the room, but effectively you are working in a bay on your own doing your practical activity. You are not sitting in a room with a group of 15 or 20 other people answering questions or having classroom discussions and things like that. And so actually what the tutor will do in reality is circulate around the room, check on your progress, support you individually, and you won't be in front of groups of other students. They will be in other bays around the workshop, and ideally you will stay in your bays because of social distancing.
Brilliant, thank you. Somebody's asked something about a diploma. So does level 3 computing count as a diploma or an A level?
Well, that's outside my department.
Okay.
I used to manage A levels in my last job, so I'm used to questions like this. If you do an extended diploma in computing in a BTEC, that is equivalent to 3 full A levels, and it will give you the same UCAS points as 3 full A levels. If you do a diploma, if I remember rightly, it's the equivalent to doing 2 full A levels. If you do a foundation diploma, it's not like doing A levels, it's like doing the old ASs, the program 3 ASs in 1 year. A diploma kind of sits in the middle of a foundation diploma and extended diploma.
Brilliant, thank you, Andy. I thought you answered that very well. Somebody's asked about, I know we talked about sort of classes starting from September, but somebody said, will there be a possibility that any classes will start in August, and how will it affect the newcomers who are currently sort of used to the schooling system? Yeah,
we don't have any plans at the moment to start any classroom delivery in August or online delivery in August. We are looking to enroll in August as normal. The enrolment will be online as well, though. There will be some face-to-face enrolments, but a lot of the enrolment will be online. And initially, my goal from a timetabling point of view is to make sure that we have every student on site at least for 1 day a week so that they can meet us, get to know us. It is going to be difficult, and none of us are used to this situation. We are going to be learning about each other partly over Teams and in online classrooms. But what I'm concerned about is that you get every student gets a chance to know what it's like to be a student in college and not just a student on the other end of a computer or a phone line. And so I'm trying to timetable in such a way as to make sure every student has at least 1 day in class with tutors. That will mostly be in small groups, but it's that face-to-face contact we're trying to ensure as well. Now, there will be a process as part of the induction about helping you to get used to working through Teams. We are learning as staff about that as well. It's new to us in this period that we've been in lockdown. And I know that some young people out there might not have had a lot of contact from their schools during the lockdown period. I can tell you now, our teachers will be in contact with you on an almost daily basis, because that's what I'll be asking them for, to make sure that you're all right, to make sure that you know what you're doing, to make sure you know what work you should be getting on with if you can't be on site because of the social distancing. But you will be supported, and I've got to say, I've been in this department for a year and a half. working with the construction team in particular and the engineering team increasingly. I can honestly say that they are an extremely supportive bunch of staff, and they will help you if you're struggling. And if they aren't contacting you, you should be happy to contact them, because they will be happy to support you in any way they can.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Andy. Somebody has asked, I mean, I know you've talked about sort of the online classes, and do you know sort of how many hours of online classes? Somebody's asked about the plumbing courses, and how many hours of online classes will there be? Okay. For plumbing specifically, I can probably give you a definitive answer to that. We are trying to get between 6 and 8 hours a week in the workshop. Now, the plumbing workshop is has the advantage under social distancing that each bay is over 2 meters wide, and each student works in their own bay once they're on site. And so every student should get between 6 and 8 hours in a bay working practically during the week. Their theory content will be moved entirely online as part of online classes, and they will do probably 2.5 to 3 hours a week of online classes. And then there will be some one-to-one support time online, where tutors will be scheduled to be there and available to help support you with independent learning that you're doing as part of that course. Thank you, Andy. Somebody said, another person about plumbing actually. So somebody said, as an adult, I'm looking to change my career path into the plumbing sector. Would you recommend me to start at level 1 or at the level 2?
There are 2 parts to that answer. The first is it very much depends on your GCSE, on your level of English and Maths qualifications. We do look for a certain level of English and Maths. Ideally, I would like a student going straight on to level 2 to have a grade 3 in either English or Maths at GCSE, or a functional skills level 1. One of those is fine. The other one should be at entry level or at grade 2. And we can live with that. We don't currently run a level 1 plumbing class for adults, because we have an awful lot of adults interested in the course, and most of our adults have adequate English and Maths qualifications to go straight onto the level 2. So I would anticipate that, assuming your English and Maths qualifications are at the required level, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to cope with the plumbing at level 2 straight away.
That's brilliant, thank you. I mean, the rest of the questions really are just about sort of what the classes will look like in September, which I know that we've sort of covered all of those. Yeah. And then the team have done a great job of answering anybody's sort of specific questions as well, which has been brilliant. So, I mean, unless there's anything else, would you like to sort of summarise anything, Andy, or is there anything that? Oh, sorry, go on.
No, what I was hoping to do now is just give you the chance to see around Welcome Street. I'll put the video on.
Oh, brilliant.
It's about 5 or 6 minutes long, and then I'll stay on the line, and anybody can ask any further questions that they might have. Okay. Can I just say up front that we filmed this with a 360-degree camera, so it looks a funny shape at certain points during the filming, but it gives you a flavour of the site, and it gives you a chance to hear some of the staff talk through their areas as well. So if you want to enjoy this, and I'll just hang on at the end for any further questions.
Thanks, Andy.
Is that right?
Welcome to the Manchester College. My name's Gary Bingham. This is the construction campus, and over to my left is the main car park. Behind me is the main reception, and over to my right is the route around the different trades at this campus. Through this door we have painting and decorating right in front of us. We have the electrical assessment room just to the right, and the stairs at the back there go up to the electrical workshops. Further down the corridor there are student toilets, and also the plumbing and sprinkler workshops.
the 360-degree camera.
As we go up the stairs, we head up toward the main electrical workshop area. We have two different areas. One for the 16 to 18 year olds and one for the adult area. So if we turn right now, we're into one of these workshops. As you can see, you have your own work bays where various tasks get undertaken. And as you can see on the benches, there are various tools, materials laid out. So this is the G001 electrical classroom, and this is generally used for level 3s. Okay, and you can see various test rigs on the walls. In this room you'll do your theory, and then you'll also get up and do your practical testing and fault diagnostics. As electricians, we get to use lots of different types of test equipment. We have a range of them on here. Yeah, standard that the electrician will carry around in the toolbox are these small multimeters. We have test plugs. We have voltage sticks for testing power to see if it's present. Won't tell you what sort of power is there, but it will indicate if there is any power or not there. We have larger meters for doing lots of different type tests. We will use various different power tools in the workshop. So we have a combination of different type drills or impact drivers here. We've got an SDS type drill used for drilling the harder materials, or perhaps as a chisel. You can see the settings on the side of this drill. We have a hammer action drill or a combi drill which does have hammer action on it. That can be used at different speeds, variable speed trigger, has a small light so you can see in darker places, and it has torque settings. So it's how much pressure we're going to put onto the materials that we're drilling or screws that we're putting in. Outside of that, we have an impact driver. Impact drivers can be used for putting your screws in or removing your screws, and you can use them with different power settings. So if you've got a softer material, you don't need it as hard as you do when it's a stronger material.
This is the carpentry and joinery workshop in the Manchester College. As you can see, you'll learn how to do stud work, door casings, flooring, stairs, kitchens, skirting boards and architraves, and everything else that you'll see a carpenter doing on site. And you'll see over there that that's where people hang their doors as well. At the Manchester College, it's important to be dressed in the correct PPE at all times. In the workshops, we wear our high-vis and we wear our steel-cut toe cap boots because they're mandatory on site. They're also mandatory in the workshop because you need to be seen as items are moved around the workshop. In some instances as well, with power tools, you'll need to be wearing a mask for obvious reasons, and goggles at all times with all power tools. There will be some instances also where you'll need to wear ear defenders just to keep yourself safe and keep everybody else around you safe.
Okay, so we're in the main building at Welcome Street, and A004 takes us into the painting and decorating section. As you can see, there are different rooms to do different for individual students to use for decorating different areas.
My name is Terry O'Brien. I'm one of the plumbing tutors here at the Manchester College. At this moment in time, we're just in the plumbing workshop, or the main plumbing workshop. As you can see, these are the benches that we'll be using to making frames when you first start. At this moment, you can see it's all laid out with different materials and different fittings and tools, etc., which we'll demonstrate later. As you can see, we're bay number 3, 2. These are the bathroom bays, which is part of your final assessment. So as you build up your skill levels, whether it be on level 1 or level 2, you will build up your skill levels and then you will move off the benches into the bays. Now you can see from where we're looking at, we've got what looks like a rather large television. This is where we can show you videos or do lessons in the practical sessions which then relate to your theory. Directly in front of us now is what we call a fault finding bay. Nothing in this bay is right. It's been designed and installed full of mistakes. This is part of your maintenance task, which builds up your underpinning knowledge regarding different faults. You think of how many houses you pass on your way to work or pass in a day, every one of them will have plumbing.
I hope that gave everybody a flavour of what the site is like. The workshop bays are individual bays for students. There may be different students work on different walls of the bay, but you will only ever be working in a bay on your own. That will help us maintain social distancing this year come September, and it will give you a dedicated space in which you can operate as a student as well. I'm happy to stay on the line as long as necessary for anybody to ask any questions. I'm not sure if I need to shut down the presentation in order to get in the chat, or if you want to read them out, Amy, but if anybody's got anything else they want to ask, feel free.
Hi Andy, it's Shay here. So I'll just pick off some additional questions. So yeah, we've got you full screen. So yeah, just a few more have come through and then we'll probably bring the session to a close. So there's a question around GCSE predicted grades, and we've got someone here that isn't really sure about what's going to happen if they can get a place on the course if their GCSE predicted grades are not as hoped as they, as they need to get on to the course.
Yeah. Have we got an indication of which course they've applied for, Shay?
I don't at the moment. No, I think it's just in this area.
It will depend slightly what their grades are, and it will depend whether they're interested in construction trades, the manual trades, or whether they want to do one of the BTECs. So I'll answer for both. Okay. If your GCSE results don't meet the entry requirements for our BTEC level 3 programs, the foundation and extended diplomas, we do have the level 2 option in engineering, and that will give you a chance to improve your English and maths grades with us while you do a level 2 in engineering. Now that will then give you a stepping stone up to the level 3. So rather than just do the extended diploma over 2 years, you would complete it at the end of 3 years, but you would then be in a position with the UCAS points it provides to apply to university or to go on to employment. So we do provide that kind of fallback position in the engineering department for anybody whose grades don't quite get there for the full extended diploma. Okay. In construction trades, we've got a range of options really. The highest entry requirements that we set are for plumbing and electrical because of the maths and science elements involved in both of those two programs. But nevertheless, we're not looking for high GCSEs there. If you've got a grade 3 in English or maths at GCSE, then you will be eligible to go on to the level 2 plumbing or electrical. The other trades require lower entry grades. And we even take students with no formal GCSEs onto our construction skills course because that's meant as a stepping stone to help them develop both personally to get some more study in their English and maths, but also to help to begin to learn some manual skills that they can use and help them decide which trade to step onto after they've been with us a year on the construction skills course. So whatever level of qualifications you leave school with, we can probably find an appropriate course of study for you that would suit you. So don't worry, would be my first point. Bring your results to us. Let us have a look at where you're at when you get your results in August. And if you haven't quite made the results for the dream course that you wanted, we will plan a route to get to your dream course. It might just take you a little bit longer.
Great, thanks for that, Andy. I hope that answers the question. That was quite detailed. There's just a question here around what is the NVQ. So I know we talked about progression onto the NVQ. If you could just give a little bit more context around the NVQ, maybe in a particular trade area. It doesn't specify what area.
What I might do is just start off and then ask Gary if he would to give a bit more detail as one of our lead tutors on the construction trades. The NVQ is the National Vocational Qualifications. What we offer on site are known as VRQs, which are vocational qualifications. They kind of prepare the ground for you to step onto site and do your NVQ while you are working. Gary, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, an NVQ is really what you'll be doing at college, but you'll be doing it as an on site. So you'll be working with a builder or a joiner, etc. And it's just a way to expand your knowledge. So what would happen on that is that you come into college one day a week and do some learning, but on the other 4 days of the week you'd be working with your employer. And at that point, an assessor comes out and assesses your work day in, day out, and helps you to complete the course by actually doing it on site as well.
So we don't actually offer the NVQ as part of our offer at Manchester College. What we do is we help young people leaving school develop the basic skills necessary to then step off onto the NVQ and go to work in the construction trades.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andy and Gary. And then I think we've just got one more question, which is our final question of the session. So it was around the level 3 computing. If someone wants to go into software engineering, do they need level 3 computing, and can you study the software engineering courses at the Manchester College?
I honestly couldn't answer that question, whether we offer software engineering at TMC. It's outside my department. It might be more in the IT computing department. Our engineering courses, while we do look at microprocessors, and Khaled can talk a little bit about that, and we look at electronic design, we don't do computing and coding, if you like, in any great detail. Khaled, do you want to add anything?
I guess the person who asked the question is applying for level 3 computing in IT department, not engineering department. That's why I guess.
Yeah, I think Khaled's point is that level 3 computing would be done through a different department, and it wouldn't be the engineering department. What we do in the engineering department, and Khaled again can elaborate if he wants to add to this, we do electronic engineering as part of some of our units. We do some structural engineering, we do engineering design and planning units, and we do basic engineering principles so that students get a broad range. Software engineering in particular is more geared towards the coding side, which isn't something that we do as part of our engineering programs.
And in my opinion, if the student is interested in computer science, they would rather go through IT courses. So software is a bit of a broad engineering major. If he's interested on the hardware side of the computer science or something like hardware and software engineering, our qualification covered the basic subjects prior to university. As I said before, things such as math, engineering principles, programming, coding, and microcontrollers.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Khaled. Thank you, Andy. So that is the end of the Q&A session, and that brings us to a close really for the construction and engineering session. So I just want to say thanks to everyone that joined us for today's session. We hope you've got everything that you need in terms of joining us for September, and all your questions answered. We do have a lot more sessions running for the rest of this week and into next week. So for example, if you are interested in construction and engineering, you may also want to have a look at our automotive and logistics courses. There is a dedicated session on that tomorrow at 3:30. So do make sure you book onto that if that's of interest. Like I say, we have a lot of the curriculum areas this week, and then into next week, a lot of sessions around our employability and student experience and careers and welfare. So do make sure you book into that next week as well and get as much information about student life as possible. So yeah, we hope you have a lovely evening, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.